Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So in this one here, I wanted to talk about actually the big news that we have here, and that is that The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon has actually officially been renewed for a fourth season. And it's the final season. So is this going to be the end of Daryl and Carol? Well, I do want to talk about all of their comments and stuff that was said. And yeah, and then after this, I will be doing a trailer breakdown of season 3. I was actually working on that, but then a lot of this news came out and this was just a little bit more exciting to talk about. So I'll do this and then I'll talk about season 3's trailer because there's a lot of excitement here now. Like now that we're going into the very last season here, well, next year we likely will be, there's a lot of excitement here in terms of what they're going to be building to here for, a reunion with Rick Grimes and other characters and what's happening after this. And so, yeah, we'll get into that there. So before we go any further, make sure to be a subscriber if you want to get all of my Walking Dead content like this. Now, I do apologize for not posting a lot this month. Honestly, I've just been going through a lot of personal stuff, but like everything's been good. It's just there's been a lot of stuff happening, but I planned everything out to be able to cover this like right on Comic-Con, and I will be doing daily videos again. So yeah, definitely make sure to be a subscriber if you want to get all my content on The Walking Dead, because season 3 of The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon is premiering in like a month and a half, and the trailer just came out and it looks absolutely incredible. So I'm excited for that. But let's actually get into the news here regarding, I guess, the final season of The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon. So AMC actually confirmed, or I guess they all kind of confirmed at Comic-Con, that is going to be ending with the 4th season. And so I will say this is really shocking news, and I will say my initial reaction when I first saw the news was like, wait, so what does this mean? Is this like the end of Daryl's story? And then you start to see a little bit of, what they were talking about afterwards. And it looks like this is going to be the end of the story in Europe. And then after that, it seems like something else will be happening. And so, obviously it looks like it's probably going to be a reunion with other characters, but honestly, for me, this feels really refreshing. I do think that this is something that The Walking Dead needs right now. Like everyone was saying, after Dead City and sort of over the last year, that The Walking Dead needs a direction. Like, where are we going with all the characters here? And it just kind of felt like, well, if you're doing a bunch of seasons like season 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or whatever, then like, I guess that could be cool, but like you have to connect other stories, have other characters show up, and like, you know what I mean? Like you have to make things more exciting, and they weren't really doing that. And so it was just like, well, what is going on? Like we just can't have, these stories like this going on forever. And so the 4th season being the final season and having Daryl and Carol, I guess by the end of the 4th season back in America, that's kind of exciting because I do want to see, how that happens. Does he reunite with Rick in that very last episode? And, what happens there? Like, what is happening after that? Because Norman Reedus actually does say here, and I do want to get into the quote because he teases that Daryl's journey is far from over. So I want to get into this here. Norman Reedus said, Daryl Dixon has been an incredible journey. I thank each and every fan who has joined us on this ride. It's been a privilege to build this story for these characters, and we have so much gratitude for how it's been embraced. Your love and support have made every moment worth it. This finale isn't just an ending, it's a celebration of what we've all shared together. Keep carrying that love forward. Daryl's journey is far from over. And so it looks like they're really celebrating The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon as, that story was like Daryl and Carol going out and traveling, I guess the world basically. And so it looks like after the 4th season, they're going to be going back to America. It does seem like, at least based off of what David Zabel said. And so let's actually get into that. David Zabel actually said, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he mentioned that like this is going to be the final season, and it's like the final season of this part of their story, basically. So the story of them being in France, and it's like, this iteration of the character's story will be ending here. And so after that, they've been talking this and that, and he sort of points at Gimple, and, he hints that there's likely going to be stuff afterwards. Like everyone seems very confident in that, and based off of what I've heard over the last couple of days, it does seem like it likely is going to be something else that happens afterwards. And so I don't know what that's going to be. Like I don't know if it's going to be a new series with Rick, Daryl, Maggie, and Negan. Like I don't know what that next show is going to be like. Like it could literally just be maybe Dead City and Daryl Dixon just combine, and you have those 4 characters together, right? I think it's going to be a little bit more than that, though. I think you will see other characters join the show. I think you'll have a lot of characters from, the Commonwealth actually be in a new spinoff. It'll be called something else, and that's what I'm really excited about, is like, what do they do going forward, right? Because obviously Rick is there. There's a lot of things there that I'm just really interested in terms of how they're going to do this next part of the story, because that's what we've all been wanting for a really long time now, right? Is just some kind of excitement, some sort of like renewal of all of this here. And we want a direction to see where this is all building to. And now it looks like it's building to all of them reuniting. And so obviously it's one of those things where it's not confirmed yet. I don't know if they're going to confirm it at all this year. I do think there's going to be a lot of questions about like what happens next, right? Like obviously if season 4 is the end, like does season 4 end with Daryl reuniting with Rick? It could really happen like that. That would be really amazing. And then, they've been talking about doing other stuff with Daryl and whatnot. Like it's not going to be a Daryl. That's the thing. If they're doing another spinoff after this, it's not going to be Daryl traveling around again, right? I think that's the one thing that Norman Reedus always wanted to do with the character, was have the character go out and travel and just see different places, right? And he got to do that with this show. He was talking about that a lot. Like, honestly, he was talking about that, for a lot of seasons on The Walking Dead. So it makes sense. Like, he got to do this show. It was 4 seasons of it. I do think filming in different countries and the high budget of these shows made it so that these shows couldn't really go on for a really long time. I think that having a lower budget and filming like in Georgia or wherever they were filming before just makes a lot more sense. And so I'm excited to see what they do have planned after this. Obviously, everyone's talking about all the characters reuniting. And so let's actually get into that here. The characters reuniting, I think, it does make a lot of sense. That I think Dead City, like season 3 could be the end, but it could be season 4 as well. Right. And because they never said season 3 was the end. And so it's possible it's one of those things where they're just going to see where Dead City goes in terms of ratings and all of that. And then, I guess in terms of the timing of everything, around 2027, I think, if Dead City season 4 is out then, or season 3, whatever happens around there, I think both shows are going to be ending around the same time. And so it's exciting because we're getting the ending of these stories. And now there's a direction. There's something to look forward to here. Like how do these character stories end? Because it's either going to be two things, right? And I think that's what's exciting about this. It's either going to be one, this is the end here of Daryl and Carol's story. After this show ends with season 4, that's it for Daryl and Carol. Or this is going to be something that builds to them reuniting with other characters. And so no matter what, this is something that I think people are going to be really excited about. And that's what I mean when I was saying earlier, this feels really refreshing for myself personally, talking about The Walking Dead, because for the last year, it's been really hard to talk about The Walking Dead because like there's stuff that I'm excited about with like specific storylines and where things can go. But there was this overall like not a direction for anything. So it just felt like, well, like, is this gonna lead up to like this or like what's happening with this? And so like now that we know, okay, this is building towards the end here, and this is either going to be the end of Daryl and Carol's story. So we're going to see how it ends. And like that could just literally be the last time we ever see them, or it's likely going to lead to something else. And Norman Reedus was teasing that. So it's going to be really exciting. And I think that Rick and Michonne returning at that point makes a lot of sense, because by the time this happens, it's going to be around like what? They'll probably announce it maybe next year or in 2027, around the time that, this show is going to be ending. That show will likely be out in 2027, maybe 2028. And so when you look at that, like say the show comes out in 2028, right? Like say The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon season 4 comes out at some point. Maybe it's like late 2026 and then early on in 2027, you get Dead City season 4 or something like that. I could see maybe if they filmed throughout 2027, they actually get the reunion story, at least the first season or whatever it's going to be, out in 2028 early on, or maybe it's going to be an October release. I think that an October release would be the best for that, but maybe they're actually going to do that for, Halloween of 2027. We'll have to wait and see. They might stretch this stuff out, over a couple of years. I don't know what they're going to do, but if it does happen by 2028, it's going to be really interesting, because the whole thing of getting Rick and Daryl to reunite at that point will literally be close to 10 years, right? Like in 2018 is the last time that Rick and Daryl saw each other. At least that's when the episode aired, right? And so literally 10 years went by at that point to have the characters reunite. So, I think it makes a lot of sense just based off of what Andrew Lincoln and Denai Guerrera are doing right now. Like they're doing other stuff, and I think that getting them to reunite for either a final season or if it's the start of a new series or whatever they're going to do, just makes a lot of sense here, because it seems like the characters aren't done, and based off of what everyone is saying, it looks like a reunion or something like that is going to be happening. It's just, again, it makes the most sense. Like, it's not confirmed, but it makes the most sense. Like, what are they going to do? Another spinoff with Daryl and Carol in America doing the same things, traveling around? Like, you would just continue the Walking Dead Daryl Dixon. Like, to me, the way to make it more exciting, to get people really, really excited and watching, is to have Daryl and Rick together, or Daryl and just any of the other characters. Like, bring Judith and RJ onto the show, right? Like, having that dynamic there and having a lot more of the cast there, I think would be really cool. Bringing back the Commonwealth story there a little bit, it creates a lot more excitement. I think that they wanted to have their little break from a lot of the main story with these spinoffs. I think, if anything, this is how you go back to that and celebrate everything, right? So I also want to talk about one thing that they did say, and I think that this is really great, and it's a sign that AMC is going in the right direction when it comes to the spinoff. So season 3 of The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon is going to have 7 episodes, it seems like. And also season 4 is going to have 8 episodes. And that's just based off of what I heard David Zabel say. I believe it was 7, because he said for the 4 seasons, it was like 6, 6, 7, and then 8. So I'm like, okay, is that 7 episodes for the 3rd season then? So if that is the case, then that's honestly amazing. I thought it was just going to be 6 episodes, because that's what they talked about before. But I guess AMC was probably like, well, you need to do one more. We need to do something else with the story, stretch it out an episode or something, and do other things, because people really want more episodes. And so they got it to 7, which I'm happy about. And then the 4th season is going to be 8 episodes, which again is amazing. So whatever year that's going to be, if that's next year, well, it's likely going to be next year, you're going to have Dead City and Daryl Dixon having 8 episodes each, which is 16 episodes in the year, which is back to like classic Walking Dead days, right? So overall, I think that this news is incredible. I think that ending the spinoffs here, and it seems funny to say that, I know, because the spinoffs, it's like, oh, I'm so happy they're ending the show, but it's more because I want to see these characters reuniting with other characters. And like, if Gimple just said anything else, like, oh, well, you know, the characters are going to be meeting other characters, like you could see Dwight on Dead City, or like these characters here might show up, like, then things would be really cool, right? But that's the thing, though, is Scott Gimple has not been doing that. And so it's just been like, well, are we just going to keep talking about the story and just keep going and going and going? You know what I mean? So to actually see, you know, what they said here, it's exciting, because a 4th season and it being the final season, that means that season 3 and 4 really matter, because this is building up the final story to how Daryl and Carol are going to get back home and reunite with everyone there, and how the next story is going to be set up here. Like, because obviously this is not going to be the end for Daryl and Carol. So that hint right there shows that something else will be happening. But what is that going to be? Is it going to be a reunion with Rick Grimes, with Maggie and Negan? I mean, there's going to be other characters. I imagine like Judith, RJ. I mean, there's so many characters if you really think about it. And then just what do they do there? Do they do a Walking Dead season 12? Or is it something else entirely? Like, what are their plans there? I think that that's what they're working on right now. What do they do after that? And it's going to be I think that's what they got to figure out right now, is that story and like what they're building to. I'm sure they have an idea. I'm sure AMC knows where they want to go. And I think they likely saw the numbers with The Ones Who Live, and they're just like, we need Rick and Michonne back. And so it seems like we're building to that in the next couple of years here. And this is going to be a really exciting ride. So yeah, I'm definitely really excited for this. The 4th and final season will likely be airing next year, or maybe the year after, but I think it's going to be next year, likely next fall. They're filming that right now, and Dead City season 3 filming very, very soon in September. And that show, I believe, will be out next year as well. We'll have to wait and see. And then that could be the end of all of this here. And then we'll see what happens for 2027. Like, we could be getting Rick and Michonne back. We could be getting some sort of big announcement happening in the next, like, 6 months, maybe at next year's Comic-Con. We'll have to wait and see. But definitely post all your thoughts down below. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.